Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday night. Welcome to another edition of the Troll the Edge podcast. This is episode 4. I am joined by my good friend Mark Henderson from the Liquid Fire Fishing team. Mark, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well, John. Hope you're doing well, buddy. It's been a busy week for us coming back from Fort Pierce, and we've got some great guests on tonight. And man, doing well. How's your week going?
Yeah, it's well. Everything was good as well. I want to hear about Fort Pierce, and I know we'll get into it with some of the guests that were. One was on board with you, and another one did pretty darn well in the tournament. So, what else? What else you got going on?
Man, we got a lot of stuff. I had a busy day today. Obviously, a lot of people know that I work for Sirius XM. I had a great visit down in Wilmington today with went to see Captain Rick Croson, who's also the captain for Living Waters Charters. Well, Rick is now the COO for Tideline Boats, who's moved down to Wilmington.
Okay.
So, a cool catamaran that was being built and still kind of in the process of shifting from Edenton, North Carolina, down to Wilmington. And I had an opportunity to go down there, visit them, talk to them about an OEM program that we've got established with Sirius XM, and then also stop by to see Brad and Brianna Knight at Onslow Bay Boat Works. Took them some giveaway items for the share tournament that they've got coming up in a couple of months. So we're supporting that as well from Sirius XM standpoint. So it was a great day from work wise. And then, last week, John, or week before last, we had a couple of guests on with Chad Pennington and Ron Dorsey from the Cape Lookout Shootout tournament series, as well as the Morehead City Open. And what great guests they are. And this such impactful events and series in the kingfishing community. They worked so hard. They were great guests, very accommodating, very informative, and a lot of people know them and appreciate what they do. So we want to thank them for their willingness to jump on with us and share a lot of information, not just about the tournaments, but about their family history, all those things. So it was cool. That was a cool podcast as well. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, the share tournament, you said it's coming up in a couple months. I think it's it's the last weekend of May, if I'm not mistaken. So it is right around the corner. I think that's one of the first ones we got going on. And I know Seth and I were talking about we're going to try to clear our schedules. We haven't fished that one yet, so we may give that one a shot. So.
Yeah, it's a great event. Brianna Knight and volunteers there, and Brad, they support the event. They've done a great job. Onslow Bay is also a supporter of the Fort Pierce King Mackerel tournament, and so they do a lot of cool things within the fishing community. So we appreciate that, so we got our fishing up here is getting ready to start. Obviously, we were down in Florida last week. We'll certainly talk about that in just a moment here, but it was. That was a cool event. Excited about the Onslow Bay and Share tournament, and thankful to be part of that. But we had some talking about Fort Pierce last week, John. What a great event that was. Had about 70 boats in it, and just a very, very high payout. And what a great job that Mike and Alicia Minia and Chelsea Coleman, who's actually girlfriend with Alex Burgess, who's on with us tonight. She did a wonderful job. All the volunteers, I don't want to just call out individuals, but they're great volunteer support staff there. It was just so much fun to fish. I mean, we had a great second day, but first day was not great for us, but didn't affect the integrity of the event or the impact of the event in the fishing community. So just thank you for such a great job they did. And wow, what a payout, man.
Somebody had to back up a Brinks truck for that one, huh?
Unbelievable. There's a gentleman named Doug Miller who fishes the Miller Time boat, and Doug owns St. Lucie Battery and Tire. And I've had last 2 years, I've actually had to use Doug's stores for some services. I had a brake caliper freeze up on my truck, so I had to take my truck to them, and man, wow, they were Johnny on the spot. I mean, it took it Sunday night. They called me Monday morning. I had the vehicle back by 2. So not only did he help me, they also won the event. They had almost a 54 on day 1, and then backed it up with a 48 on day 2. I think they had a 102-pound aggregate, and Alex had a great tournament too. He's going to join us to talk about it. But Man, I'm gonna tell you, Kevin Hannon and Pro Marine won $317,000 2 years ago.
which was
Miller
amazing.
Time, unbelievable. That was the record.
Yeah.
And Doug's team, Miller Time, won $321,000 this past weekend. Man,
that's unreal. Great job.
Mackerel tournament. It's about a $9,000 buy-in. Plus, there's some other things that went in. Then Slob City, a good friend of ours from down out of West Palm, Carl Torrenson, Mike Wood, and their team, they won about 87 grand in second. And then Alex in Living Waters. Alex is going to join us here in just a moment. He won $41,000 in the event as third place team. Alex had the second biggest fish on day one, and then Ron, he fished with us, and just always pleasure to have him on board. But there's something also really, really cool about what this event does. We talked about this with Mike and Alicia when they were on the first podcast that we had.
Right.
Talked about the Brandon Reed Foundation. Well, I had some cool stories there, but long and short of it, they had raised almost, I think, like $24,000, give or take $500 at the captain's meeting. People entering the Brandon Reed Calcutta raised almost $24,000. When Doug won this thing, he rounded up to $50,000 for this charitable event. Man, can you believe
that's
that?
Unreal. And if I'm not mistaken, Doug's the one that puts up the $5,000 on the Calcutta too.
Absolutely. So he put up that 5,000, rounded up. Man, I tell you, it was just so exciting. And I know that all the volunteers and everybody that was part of that, I know how proud they are. And I know how much Brandon Reed's mother appreciates that. She was very emotional in a lot of things. So I can only imagine what that meant to her. So anyway, kudos to everybody who put that event on. If you're listening to this podcast, whether it's tonight or in perpetuity, when you go to YouTube, look for our YouTube channel or whatever it may be, it is an event that I would encourage you to travel to. I know there were some North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia teams, and some of them did very well. But it's not just about winning the money. It really is about a destination and a lot of fun. So kudos and great job. So, we've got a few more things that real quick touch on is, we got the Sport Fish Championship. John, you used to work in that environment. You can share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, the SFC, which is, it's being aired on ESPN2, I think. They started their tournaments. They had the Key West event, and I think next month they're going over to Walker's Cay, and a bunch of boats fishing that tournament, and they've got teams from the Gulf, from the Atlantic, the Mid Atlantic. It's kind of cool to watch. Get reminds me of the old days of forget the name of the show, but the one Norm Isaacs used to do.
Yeah, that was good.
It just, and again, like you mentioned that years ago, I was involved with the World Billfish Series. So seeing, those boats and some of those tournaments were really good events to attend and be a part of. And, it's just something cool to watch. So
for sure.
We need more of that, and they're definitely doing it right. So.
Good deal. Well, we've also got a couple of other things real quickly. Blue Water Movements. Jamie Bunn's done this, the Quest for Crest, which Alex has won in the past. And they've got the summer series coming up, getting ready to start in mid-May. There's a lot of things going on down on that coast and coming up the coast in Georgia and South Carolina as well. But, they just finished the Quest for the Crest, and I think Team Real Deal, if I'm not mistaken, they won that. So congratulations to that team. Congratulations to Jamie. He continues to develop great fishing opportunities and tournament structure for a lot of fishermen on the coast. And I appreciate that as a fisherman. I've fished Jamie's stuff many times and donated a lot of money to those boys down there. So it's just a great time. So, and then also King's big fish caught at Johnny Mercer Pier here on out of Wrightsville Beach this past week, 48 pounders. Though up here in North Carolina, the kingfish are starting to run. Been some good, mullet fishing and things like that. So a lot of, fishing's just heating up, man. And after a very, very cold winter,
Yes.
Just about everywhere, really, even down in Florida. I mean, wow.
They had a cold one too.
They really
did. How about Captain Mark Henderson, podcast connoisseur, man? You got the Fisherman's Post podcast that you just did.
Yeah, man, that's getting ready. I think people with the premium service with Fisherman's Post are already able to join that. Gary Hurley, the publisher, who we worked with for many years, asked me to be a part of that for early spring mahi up here in North Carolina, and then also had a special guest, Dan Dickerson from Sirius XM. So we spent probably at least 15 minutes chatting about the value, and not just about Sirius XM service, but how does it affect and what you do on the water, how you can utilize the weather, some of the fishing applications, and that kind of thing. So long and short of it, that goes live. Well, it goes out for on air on April the 28th. So Fisherman's Post, it'll do that. We'll put it on our Facebook page and that kind of thing. So it's about the third one I've done with Gary over the last 4 or 5 years, but it's always good. Gary's a good guy.
Because they're always educational for sure. So
they are, man.
And the only other thing on news I've got to hit on is it's not much of one, but we're going to get a 6-week grouper season.
I saw that, man. 93 days, right? How about it?
Yeah. Yeah, we're can't keep a ton. I think it's 2 gags a boat, or one per person.
Yeah.
So not a ton, but hey, listen, if you're going out there and going to go to the blue water, hit a couple ledges on the way back in, and see if you can get a couple, and
absolutely
make it worth your while.
It is. Joshua, my oldest son, caught one that was about a gag. It was about 30 pounds last year, and it was. And then my grandson followed it up with a 25. So it was crazy.
Wow.
Man. So I'm looking forward to that season. That's always a lot of fun, man. Nothing like bottom fishing. It's just trolling and kite fishing and doing all the cool things that we do with king mackerel fishing is very cool. But I'm gonna tell you, man, you drop to the bottom. There's all kinds of sea creatures that you can come up with.
You never know what you're getting down there for sure.
No,
well, let's talk a little bit about our guest today, man. We are, you and I talked about it earlier. I think between strictly tournament fishing, between the 4 of us, we've probably got close to 100 years in that. And I can't include myself in this company, but you've got an SK Angler of the Year title. Ron Mitchell is a 2-time SK Angler of the Year and an SK Hall of Fame member. Alex Burgess is a SK National Champion, on top of all the other tournaments that these 2 gentlemen have won. I think you had mentioned Alex is, the Quest for the Crest. We saw the jacket earlier. So without further ado, let's bring these guys on and chat a little bit and see what they got going on.
Whoever's listening to this is going to enjoy some unbelievably accomplished captains and just all around great people, man, and unbelievable fishermen. So it's an honor to have these guys on board with us tonight. And welcome, Alex, Ron.
Alex, guys, and Ron, how you guys doing?
We appreciate you joining and being part of this. And we've been friends a long time, so and it's exciting for you to be part of the Troll the Edge podcast, guys.
It's an honor.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, guys, let's talk a little bit. Let's give the audience what they're really here for, is to see you guys and get some information, man. So let's talk a little bit about the each of you's history. How did you get started in this? What really kind of drove you to do and what you do today? I mean, Alex, you're still a young man compared to the rest of us, but you've been in it a long time. And Ron, me and you, buddy, we're just about over the hill. So, but there's some cool things that have happened in your past. So, Ron, talk a little bit about your history. What led you to this? What your profession has been over the years, and quick overview there.
Well, I've been in law enforcement most of my life, 37 years in law enforcement, and had an old pro line and started doing some KDWs and did pretty well. And it actually got stolen from my yard next to my police car, and I ended up getting a contender. And it was all history after that. I got into the SK in 1998, fished a couple tournaments, and the owner, Jack Holmes, told me, man, you need to get in the pros. So in 2005, I fished the pros, got 12th. And, right before that, kind of the big story is I went into Dave Workman. I don't know if everybody knows Dave. Dave's a 3-time.
Yeah.
I should have tied him. But,
great guy.
Great guy. And I walked into his trophy room and I picked up one of his Angler of the Year cups. And I said, I looked at Dave and I said, I'm going to win one of these days. He looked at me like, yeah, sure you are, kid. And that was it. Luckily in 06, I won my first. And then 09, I won another one. And in 2011, I missed my third one by about a pound. And, it's just been a great experience. The SK back in those days, we did a pro tour, and Mark knows. Mark won it in 08. And you traveled 5 tournaments all over the country and spent a lot of time on the water. To me, that was one of the toughest things I've ever done. To be competitive against 100 other boats that are all doing the same thing. I still think that's the hardest thing in fishing.
It was not only did you spend a lot of time, spend a lot of money doing that, but it was worth it. And I'm sure we'll talk some more about how that was and how that transpired and the history of it and how it's transcended and moved forward. And and what I thought when we put this together is it would be kind of cool. You and I, kind of that early 60s guy, and then we got when then we bring Alex in, who's I remember meeting Alex back in, I think, was it Alex 2012?
I think it was 2010 or 11 in Key West.
Okay. Down in Key West. And so Alex is a young guy, man. I've watched him in the history and the path in which he's taken to not just king mackerel fishing, but my goodness, some of the things, guy, it's unbelievable. So Alex, talk a little bit about what brought you to this stage and how you have transitioned your career from early on, and then how it's developed as from charter fishing to bait, business and all the things that you've done into championship tournament fishing, man.
Yeah, I grew up playing baseball at a pretty high level, and once that was over, I met Mike Wood and Jim Wood just after high school, and they kind of got me into the tournament stuff. And it was a lot of learning from reading magazines and trial by error. And when I fished with Mike and Jim, he was a commercial fisherman. So we would kind of coming in, and he would come in with a super heavy wire and huge hooks. And we would be like, the magazine says we need to use light wire and little hooks. So then we kind of learned that we just kind of met in the middle, and we still fish a lot bigger hooks than most people, but right. That's what we like. And then just through them, I met another group of guys on the boat called Doing It All Hard Way, and that's where I started doing the sailfish stuff, and that's where we won one of the Burgundy jackets.
Yeah, that's not an easy. You kind of slid into that, but that's not an easy task. What you did right there, man. There's
some talented folks down there doing
big
that.
Deal right there. That's pretty special.
Yeah,
that's yeah. So as you watch some of your social media stuff, not only does it have fishing, every once in a while something appears on there and you're like doing some kind of backflip or something. I'm like, what in the world, man? So talk a little bit about all this athletic ability. I know you played, just you and I have talking in the past, the baseball at a high level and that kind of thing too. So got a lot of talent, man.
Yeah, I've always been able to do flips and stuff, and I can still do them now at 40.
Yeah, I probably could, but I'd wind up on my back.
Yeah,
I'd be in the
I do it by accident.
Yeah, exactly. Slip out from feet from out from under you, man. No doubt about that.
If you scroll all the way to the bottom of my Instagram, you'll find me doing a double front flip.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
Oh, my Lord. I did it off a diving board a few times, so that's about it. When I was way younger than you, though. But so, Ron, let's talk a little bit about you. Not only your profession, part of your profession was actually playing football.
I did that at a high, right? I did that at a high level. Played in college, and I actually got hired by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office to play football. We had a semi-pro football team that traveled all over the country, played NYPD and Houston, and all over. And I played linebacker for them. Probably did a lot of damage in my 30s playing that, but just like Alex, we turned that competitive nature into fishing, and that's something that made me continue doing fishing for so many years, is that you just get addicted to it. It's one of those sports that when you catch a 60-pound fish and win a big tournament, there's nothing like it. It's like winning a Super Bowl, man. For us, that is our Super Bowl. You know, I mean, when Alex won nationals or when I won Angler of the Year or even got put in the Hall of Fame, people are like, oh, it's a fishing Hall of Fame. It's our football Hall of Fame, you know?
Absolutely.
And so, you know, football was a really big thing for me most of my life. And, you know, got to turn that into fishing. And, you know, I'm so grateful to be able to do what I've done for many years.
You know, guys, something about that, talking about that. How about the talking about the competitive nature and the fire that you have? Both of you obviously have athletic backgrounds. Is that something that at this point in your life, I mean, like you said, it might not be football, it might not be baseball, it might not be one of the four major sports, but there's something about the competitive nature and what that brings to you that fuels a fire of competition. And it does for me. I was, you know, played a lot of sports when I was younger as well, but you know, it's something about that competition that, you know, and it's unique too, because you're not in total control. You know, I mean, you present, you do the best you can, you do everything that you possibly can, and you might or might not get the bite. So talk a little bit about that. Now, Alex, how does that generate an interest in you, and how does that fill a void that might have existed because of the athletic, you know, background?
Well, it's definitely there, the competitive nature. I have a pretty good mindset with the tournament fishing and knowing that you're not going to win most of them. So it doesn't really get under my skin when things aren't going well. And I've learned that you just, when you're on a spot, you're not catching fish. You just got to move around and don't worry so much about what everybody else is doing, which is a big thing nowadays, is phone fishing. And
yeah,
you can tell when you'll see people zipping around for no reason.
Well, I can catch a kingfish at 60 miles an hour.
I can tell you this, man. You know, the opportunities that I've had to fish with you a couple of times that I have. I mean, you know, your awareness is something that is so impressive. I mean, it's interesting to watch how zoned in that both of you guys are. But you know, watching how you evaluate things, look at things, understand currents, and you know, the turbidity of waters and things like that. So I think
those are things you can't really teach either. Those are just time on the water.
Yeah. And, you know, you when you first started, I mean, you were doing a lot of charter fishing and commercial fishing and that too, right? I mean, you've kind of transitioned that to a different business.
Well, I kind of actually started more with the tournaments with Jim and Mike Wood with Penniless. And then fishing with them, I wanted to figure out how to do fishing as a living. And then I started doing some charters here and there, and I got my commercial king permit and doing that, and did that for don't know how many years. And then I started doing the bait, and then the bait pretty much took over my life, which is what I do now. I do bait and tournaments, and that's pretty much it.
Well, I can tell you this: you're one of the busiest people I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you're hardworking. I mean, people say, "Oh, you fish for a living," but let me tell you something. Watching what you do, man, holy smokes, the time that you put in and
that's a lot of 18, 20-hour days.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I witness it. I see it. I mean, you know, just in the times that, you know, we've been together and I've chatted, put a lot of effort and energy into it and doing it right. And, you know, so it's cool to see that. And, you know, Ron, over the years, you've what's unique kind of about what you've done is that you've had an opportunity. I fished with my kids my whole career, my sons. Okay. You put teams together. Both of you guys fish with different people, different teams, and the ability to kind of organize that and structure that. I mean, there's a lot of energies and a lot of dynamic that goes into that. So talk a little bit about that. Tell us what happens with some of that.
You know, there's two aspects to what we do is, you know, you got the divisional stuff in the SK, and then you got, you know, the pro stuff. And me and Alex and, you know, Billy Warmer, Spice Rum, you know, we used to fish Division 8 and Division 10, and it would always be us. For years, it would be, you know, him winning the division and us winning the division. And got a quick story that Alex beat me and Billy in both divisions one year, and me and Billy had dinner and said, man, how are we going to beat this guy? And it's the bait. So we worked on getting better bait that year, and then we ended up winning both divisions. I think he got second to us. So there's a lot to it, but you know, there was 100 and something boats in Division 10 back in the day, and to be able to stay at the top, all three of us, and be competitive over the years and be relevant. That's the hard thing. Like you and Alex and several other teams, not a lot of people stay relevant in this sport. They'll win a championship and then they'll disappear because it takes so much effort and time. Like you said, you had your boys. I've always been jealous of Joshua and Crockett, and now Colby's come up, because you're never going to quit now because you got Colby to deal with. But, just to stay relevant and win tournaments over 20-year span, that's unheard of, and I think all three of us are right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been an honor to be able to do that and fish with you guys and against you guys and just watch the talent that y'all have. I mean, this past weekend, we were talking right before we got on this, was watching what Alex and his team did. And they, they come down, they release 5 kites and they were hanging baits off. I mean, there was almost no wind, and these kites get out there beautifully. And it's
their own ecosystem. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
So I mean, but there's different tactics, and so there's slow trolling. Obviously, it depends on what the location is. But Alex, I mean, as far as we talked some about bait. I mean, is that, you feel like for the audience out there, you feel like that's the key? I mean, there's a lot of keys, but talk about
definitely. I would number one key factor, and then having the right live wells for the bait, because a lot of these boats don't really come with the right wells, because we're fishing with big baits when we're looking for those big things most of the time. And you put a 2.5 pound bait in, or put 18 of them in a well, and you think they might be alive, but they don't look good when they get there.
Right.
You want your baits looking as nice as possible.
Right. How about the variety? I mean, when you go out, I mean, talk about a little bit of that. I mean, you sell not just one kind of bait, and you don't use just one kind of bait. And then it's different for each type of species that you're fishing for too, right?
Yeah. When we're doing the summer series down here, we're fishing with multiple species, as well as the big king tournaments. They're just all bigger baits. So for like Fort Pierce, we had bluefish, blue runners, and big gogs. And that was it. We had them separated out in each well so they're not congested. And then for Jamie's summer series, we'll bring 300 sardines and 10 dozen gogs, and if we have them, some Speedos. And
for that, and Ron, you fished Jamie's summer series a lot too, but for that, so the audience would understand, the difference in that and what we talk about a lot of times with king mackerel fishing. When you say multi-species, there's 5 different species. You can weigh 10 fish for no more than 4 of one. And so that I remember several years back, 7-8 years ago or something, I think you and Mike Wood and all those, I think y'all were the first team to weigh 10 fish. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm penniless. That was 2013.
We did it one year also. We did it 1 year. We got 10.
Did you?
Yeah. After the year we did it, it's like multiple teams a year are doing it now, because I think a lot of teams are getting better at fishing and they're learning all the little tricks and everything.
But are you talking about that? Like, Mark showed a picture earlier of all the kites, in the air fishing the Fort Pierce tournament. I mean, 10 years ago, there wasn't a third of that, up in the air for sure. But Alex, I had a question, something you hit on earlier about, hitting, moving spots and fishing a spot for a certain period of time. But, if you're on a spot that, where a couple of fish are getting caught, how long are you giving that before you decide, hey, I'm going to go try something different?
If I'm somewhere where I'm familiar, I'll probably spend a little bit more time there than I am when I'm out of town. When I come up for the Morehead City Open, that's obviously not my backyard, and I only get to fish it once a year. And the last couple of years, the fish have been in one spot, and unfortunately, we kind of have to fish there because I don't know many other places to go. So you kind of just pound that area out. But if I'm fishing like out of St. Augustine, I know a lot of areas, so I'll go and just hit a spot for 30, 45 minutes and then bounce to the next spot.
I don't know if that's from that spot you're talking about in Moorhead, but that's a pretty
Yeah,
darn
it
good
is.
fish for the Carolinas. So
Yeah, that was 53-pounder.
yeah, that's awesome. And Ron, how about you? How long? How long are you staying around before you decide, hey, we
You
need to go
know,
make a change?
and Alex will tell. I mean, me and Alex and I, we fish next to each other a lot. We have some spots in certain areas. We live in the same area, and we fish a lot of the same tournaments. You know, the local stuff. And I'll see him boat a 50 every day. Every other day, and then he'll see me sometimes boat a good one. But I'll give it time. I mean, if I pre-fished and I found fish there, I'm not gonna. I don't like running all over the place, because when you're running, you're not fishing, and unless I hear something that tells me to go somewhere else, I'm going to give it time, and we've done that. I mean, Mark, one year was fishing down here in one of Jamie's tournaments, and we were fishing the ledge, and I moved up toward the inlet and he stayed down south with Billy, and I caught 40, and they were catching small fish, and I called both of them in, and they both caught 40 right next to me, and Billy actually took $20,000 out of my pocket.
I remember that he beat you by like a couple ounces.
Yeah, he still owes me for that, but that's the way it is, and that camaraderie too. I mean, working with other teams. I'm going to tell you, the only way I won Angler of the Year, I mean, the only way I fish is my wife let me do it, because if I have an autistic son, and if it wasn't for my wife, I would never have done any of this. But if you don't have other people you can work with and trust, like Mark and me and Alex, they never lie. I mean, there's people out there that just won't tell you the truth, and you know who they are. But if you don't have that, especially when I used to do the pros, there is no way you're winning anything. You need help. I mean, you go out there and work your butt off, but you need some help to get to that level,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's important. Having connections and that's over the years that it's truly been an honor to meet you guys and being able to work with you and learn from you every time we come down. I mean, that's our goal: learn more and more from you guys, and it's always, we don't always perform well, but it is something that, if you look at it as trying to make sure that you're becoming better at something, I think that's critical. And even at my age, I mean, I can't move like I used to and things like that, but I do have kids that can. So that's a good thing.
You're lucky there. And I watched you guys, both of you guys. I mean, when I was, I started before both of you did. And, I thought I did it at a pretty high level. And then you came in, Mark, and changed the game with the raps and the social media. And I mean, just no one did what you did. I mean, you actually, the boys, and I watched your boys go from little kids to grown men, and watching how unbelievable, anglers they become. And then now Alex has just completely changed the game now. I mean, I'm scared to even fish next to this guy. I mean, he's completely changed it. And watching both of you guys do what you've done to change the game. I mean, there's really not a pro tour anymore that we travel all over the country, but it's more of a big fish, big money 2-day tournament thing now, which is good with me, because I don't want to travel all over the country anymore anyway. But it is something. And the only team I've ever fished with in my 35 years of tournament fishing is Mark Henderson and his family, and I enjoyed it. It's like fishing with family.
Yeah, it's a good time, man. I mean, it really is, and it's always special to be able to share those types of things. And it's fun for me because I have fished with my family my whole career, and John's fished with us a couple times, and Alex, he went out. I remember going out of Palm Beach one day with you, man, and showed us a couple of things on the kite, and I mean, my sons were really paying attention, and they understand it a lot better than I do. But it's and then having you come up here and stay with us and come fish with us, it's a pretty special time, man. The friendships that you make, and and just watching, how the talent develops too. I mean, it's been pretty special to see Alex, as he, from a young man, a real young guy, I mean, and develop into still a young guy to us, but wow, just the development of that and what you've been able to accomplish is a lot of fun. And, it's been pretty cool. So, Alex, how'd you come up with the name Seapremacy? Was that, and I know you fish in living waters, you fish Digger Rich, you fish doing it all hard way. I mean, you fished in a lot of, with a lot of teams, but when it comes right down to it, your business name, your team name, boat name.
Yeah, I was when I first bought my boat, 2009. I was thinking about names for quite a while, actually, and one of my favorite movies was the Born Supremacy.
Okay,
I like what the word supremacy means, and I just added the sea in front of it, so it's like the domination of the sea is the goal.
I like it. That's good, man. I didn't know that. I mean, you kind of think about a name on something like that, so that's pretty cool. Ron, how about Bandit? I know yours, but
Bandit,
I got Ron's. Hang on.
Yeah, that's it. That's my fun days. My wife hated that. She had to braid my hair all the time. But yeah, I was worked at the sheriff's office. Our football team name was the Bandits. So that stuck. So that's where it came from, and it's been pretty popular for years.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, both of you made a name for yourself, not just recently, but for long standing. It's kind of like Dave Workman or Clayton Kirby or somebody like that. I mean, in the king mackerel world, you're gonna those guys, people know them for years and years, and they make a legacy. And both of you guys have certainly established that already, and so that's pretty cool. And when you two guys, did y'all meet in a kingfish tournament? Is that how y'all met?
I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it was just division 8 or 10, probably.
Yeah, one of the tournaments. I don't remember when. It was probably more of a frenemy type thing for a long time.
I'm telling you, the only two teams that anybody can win a tournament, and we got beat, a lot, but it was always Billy Warmer Spice Rum or Alex Penniless or Supremacy. Where we usually would always show up at the same place, so that means we worked hard to find out where they were and did our homework. So but that's how we kind of met, just probably at a captain's meeting or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, Alex, I asked you, I don't know if it was last week or week before, we were chatting, and we were talking about king mackerel fishing compared to sailfish fishing and that type of thing. I mean, you have a real passion for catching kingfish, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely prefer catching kings over sails.
Well, explain, that's interesting because sails do such acrobatic things. And for the audience sitting out there, of course, there is, and where I want to go with this, there is something special about catching a king mackerel. I don't know why or what, but it is.
I feel it's harder to catch kingfish overall, a big kingfish, than it is catching sailfish. I've caught a lot of sailfish on my charters, and they are very stupid fish when they come up to eat.
Really?
a big kingfish, a lot of people don't know, is a very old fish.
Right.
Like a 50-pound kingfish is a 25-year-old fish.
Right.
At least.
And they didn't get that big by being stupid. I've seen many times big kings will just come right up to your bait on the surface and look right at it and then just fade away. Yeah. Sailfish will do it too, but
I remember.
It's hard to beat that first run of a big king with the clicker on.
It really is.
And they got teeth.
Yeah.
And you get to gaff them.
Yeah, and you get to gaff them, which is the big reward at the end there if you can get them in the boat, especially these days with the sharks.
Would you prefer to gaff one or fight one, Alex? Ron, both of you.
I think I'm less nervous on the gaff. I'm not nervous on the rod, but I can feel my heart racing more.
Right.
On the rod.
And you know what I do when I catch a big one.
Oh, yeah. I don't think too many people know about that.
Yeah, there's not too many people know.
Can you reveal what you do?
I get a little excited and get a little adrenaline going, and if it's a big fish, I'll have a couple dry heaves at the end. But
yes, you will.
Yeah,
it is funny. I think there's a picture of you out there actually.
Yes, John is at 57 at Jensen Beach. You see me a picture, I'm over there making a funny face. So.
You know what? I think I've seen that picture before. And talk about, we were talking about crews earlier, man. Talk about, that crew in particular. You've had some good ones over the years, Ron, but there was a lot of young talent on that boat in that tournament, and some of those guys are still at it today.
Those guys were a lot of West Coast guys, but my
Yeah,
original
Ryan, Mark, or Ryan
yeah,
and
Ryan
Mike.
was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ryan, what a great guy. They fished with me in nationals too. When I think I caught a 55 out there, but just good fishermen. I had Spencer Ross on the boat.
yep.
And he turned
Jeff, I
into
think, was on
great.
there.
Yeah, I've had a lot of good people on my teams that have turned into some pretty good anglers. I mean, even Carl's been on my boat years ago, and
That's
Spencer.
how I met Carl.
What's that?
Well, actually, I think he was fishing with Lance.
Yeah, no, Carl and Lance, but Carl fished with me back in the day. I didn't remember him because he was probably terrible back then. No, I'm just kidding. Probably had a spinner reel upside down. I mean, that's usually what happens. But, you teach them the way you want them to be. I mean, I had Tom Kenny on my 06 team. I had some really good anglers then. The Bergring, Justin Bergring, and the season ticket guys, Dave and Brad. I mean, I've had some good people around me, because if you don't have good people, you're not. You have to have. I mean, your team now, Living Water, those guys are amazing, just great fishermen, and there's a lot of teams.
Even in their name.
Yeah,
3 of the guys on the team, the name is Fishman.
That's
is it really?
Mike's Steve.
Yeah, I love that.
Steve, the dad, and the sons are Christopher and Michael.
Yeah, and Steve is just a great guy, man. What a super guy. And, just always positive, always willing to talk to you. I'd love to be on that boat and hear what you guys do during the day, because it's got to be fun.
There's just a lot of shit talking going on.
Yeah, well, we always do. Listen, I've always, you know me, I'm a calm guy on the boat.
You're actually pretty calm on my boat.
Well, it's your boat. If it was named Bandit, it'd be a different story. That's why
Well,
you don't much. No, I'm just kidding. I've calmed way down over the years.
We don't get too terribly excited on our boat.
But it's what we do. It's what we do, and to do a pro event and spend all that money and all that time and spend a week in a whole nother state, you got to do it at a high level. If you make mistakes over and over again, you're not going to win. So you have to be tough. I mean, and I was a little bit tough, but I've calmed down over the years.
Yeah, you're fun to fish with, man. Both of you guys are. But getting back to the Kings and why somebody would want to do this, and coming off of a King tournament, and that's what we all do. But there's just something about it. It's something about that species that a lot of people, I've done a lot of seminars. All of us have done a bunch of seminars, and there's a lot of people that have king mackerel fish, so they think they're, I don't want to say they're not king mackerel fishermen, but as much as we've done it, a lot of people think that it's just you go out there and you just troll around and there's no strategy to it. But the reality is that is very, very important to understand the different tactics that are used, how to learn how to put those in place more and more, and the addiction to that fish hitting and running. And I think you're right, Alex. I think it's just hard sometimes to catch these things. It's not like they're just, if you get into a bite, that's one thing. But the reality is that just like the first day, I mean, and if you missed your bite, there's a good chance, like we did, we missed our bite and didn't have another bite the whole day. So on day one and of the tournament. But there's something about that, a different strategy and how you put different understanding of different tactics to into play. So for example, tell us why you would kite fish instead of, not give away secrets or anything like that, but kite fishing compared to slow trolling, compared to drifting, and the different tactics, and what, and quickly, how would you explain that to someone who's just getting into the sport? Because king mackerel fishing, man, for an old guy like me and Ron, we'll remember the BGs or John Denver or something like that. Nobody wants to admit it, but you know what? They've all listened to it. It's kind of like catching a king. Nobody wants to tell you you're a king mackerel fisherman, but everybody wants to catch them,
Well, it's specifically in South Florida, our reef line with the Gulf Stream is very tight. So if we have a southeast wind with the kite spread out, our fish just respond to it very well. And I don't really understand why our area specifically, they like it so much better, because I go to other places. Morehead City is a perfect example. You'll be at Hatteras and the fish are shooing their faces off, and I'll have a kite out and I'll get a couple bites on it, but they're just eating the pogies on the flat line like crazy.
Right.
So I don't understand that because it's shallow up there too, which usually the shallower water works better because obviously the fish can see the kite bait easier.
Right.
But we'll get king bites out in 180 foot on the kite down here.
Well, talk about the adrenaline rush as compare a kite bite like you got on Saturday when you sent me that picture, that 50, almost 54 that you got, and and you saw that fish. It skied, I think. You tell the story, but compared to a troll bite, how does that?
It's definitely more stressful on the kite bite, especially when they sky, because you don't get tight to the fish until you put it in gear, reel all the slack up, and actually get tight to the fish.
And you see it.
And you see it, yeah. So that one specifically, we kind of got lucky. Only one guy on the boat actually saw the whole bite, and he called it a 30-pounder. So nobody on the boat got overly excited.
All right.
And then we got tight to him, made a pretty good run, was fighting a little bit bigger than a 30, we could tell. And I saw it come up, and I was like, all right. That was the first time I've caught a fish that size where I got my adrenaline going. I was like shaking a little bit.
Were you an angler?
No, I don't get to catch any fish anymore. I'm always behind the wheel.
Yeah, no, understood. Well, that's generally how the captains wind up doing that. So,
there's a comment Brian just made on water clarity. And I think he's definitely onto something, because your water clarity on the west coast or east coast of Florida compared to Morehead City is definitely different.
Yeah, but then again, I don't know if it's just the timing, because I know when Gil Strelick won nationals in Morehead, he caught all of his fish on the kite at the pot liquor.
Yeah.
Wow. The water. I wasn't there that year, so I don't know what the water looked like, but
it was best.
It probably wasn't clear.
I think it was pretty dirty that year, if I ain't mistaken. He was off the pot liquor, if I'm not mistaken, when he caught this fish. So, but it's it's definitely a different it's definitely a different feeling, a different sensation of watching that fish hit. There's something unique about it compared to a hit on a slow troll. I mean, because a hit on a slow troll, a lot of times it's just immediate, just high speed blister, and if it's a big fish, and so it's just a different strategy, different tactic, gives you different feelings. And like you said, maybe a little more stressful on the kite, because you see it, you know that it's there, getting reeled up to it, getting tight, and then the fish feels it, and then they take off. So it's a whole different scenario for sure.
Yeah. A lot of times too, they'll cut your bait in half, and when you haven't done a lot of kite fishing, you don't know that you can just keep letting that bait sink after it's cut in half, and they'll come back and eat it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the same on a slow troll too. If you get a slow strike and you feed it back, if it looks natural and it's not swimming without a head, they'll come back and eat it. But I think a lot of times too, it's who you have on your boat. I don't, lately when I fish tournaments, I don't have people that can do what you guys do with the kites. You have to have people that really know. And I've had people, Rob and Pete from Strictly Fishing, Gil's been on my boat. When I have those guys on the boat, I got a kite up, because I don't have to worry about them. They know what they're doing. And we can continue to slow troll and still have a kite off the bow, So makes a big difference.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, Ron. It makes a world of difference to have a couple extra hands, that to be able to run one. Yeah, no doubt.
Yep. Alex, you mentioned something, combining those tactics too, whether it's a slow troll and actually putting a kite up. Do you do that a lot as well? I know periodically we'll put a kite up while we're trolling to get a different presentation. Sometimes it produces, sometimes, you still get the troll bite, but it gives you a different presentation. I know, Ron, I've seen you do that as well.
Yeah, it's depending on the style of tournament. Like when it's just a big fish tournament, I guess you could do both actually, but you can just cover more water when you're slow trolling with the kite up, and you can kind of stay in the zone a little bit better. But you kind of have to take the big spread mindset out, because when you're trolling your flat lines, if you're constantly zigging back and forth, your flat lines end up getting into your kite spread and stuff gets hung up. So that's why when we're trolling, usually just fish one kite with one bait.
Right.
You can kind of just reel that one bait up and skip them over the top of your flat lines.
Hey,
But
Mark,
like
we had
this
a
last
question.
weekend, I was doing, we weren't even fishing flat lines. We just strictly kite baits.
Strictly kite. So, gotcha. Didn't want that possibility of having it.
I've never caught any winning fish drifting on my flat line of what we needed
Mark,
for that week. Like I've caught 40s and stuff, and I've caught 50s on my charters, but tournament day is just, they want that kite bait, especially in April.
Yeah.
Ron,
Ron,
question from the chat here, Mark, real quick.
Okay.
Cody Bryant said, I know earlier you talked about how you change the game with bait and grind. What's one of the biggest mistakes that you see happening with bait?
Too small a bait pen.
Yeah, taking care of them. Having a lot of well space, round wells. I mean, Alex, on your new boat, how many live wells do you have on that thing?
The 44 contender has 5 live wells totaling 360 gallons.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
I mean,
well, that's just in the boat. I think you might have been referring to like
how you take care of them,
keeping it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sell a lot of the bait to the guys, and I have to put baits in a lot of small pens, and they don't like small stuff.
No.
So you're saying the bigger the pen, the better, give them more room to swim.
Yeah, and I understand it's harder to bring all that stuff around when you're traveling. But people are learning. It's definitely, this year when I dropped baits off, it was definitely better than the first year I dropped baits off. Like I had one year I dropped, some guy had 2 dozen Speedos and 2 dozen bluefish ordered, and he had one little chem container for me.
Well, Mark doesn't have that problem because I think he brought 30 pins down for this last.
He brought pins down before the tournament even happened.
I know he did.
Didn't help us. But we were ready, right?
Yeah, your baits were alive though.
Oh, yes, sir. They were. They were pretty. There's no doubt about that. So, Ron, Alex mentioned something about fishing for big fish, but, getting back to the Angler of the Year titles and things like that, you won a couple of, and back in the day when the SKA was at its peak. Talk about the difference in fishing for points and why you would fish for points as compared to a big fish. And Alex, this kind of transcends into even some of Jamie's summer series stuff. So,
absolutely.
So talk about the difference there, Ron, and what the value was, traveling there and the history of what you would do there.
Well, I mean, back in the day, when the Pro Tour, it was all whatever you weighed was your points, so the bigger the fish, the more points you had. You'd fish 5 tournaments, 2 fish per tournament. They'd count your 7 fish. Our 7 fish aggregate in 06 was 40 pounds. So almost every fish we had, if you space them all out, was a 40-pound average, which broke the record back then. Things have changed a lot now. There's some tournaments that do a point thing and stuff like that, but usually it's just the poundage. It's where it is, and so you're always looking for that monster.
Yeah, but when you were doing that, I know when you came up to Little River and you knew you had to have a points fish. So how did that change your mindset when you might not have had to have a 50-pounder and win?
Well,
talk about what
that happened to me. That happened to me in 06. Little River, we were fishing way down in Georgetown at the Not So Secret, and weren't getting anything. And we looked at everybody and go, we need a fish. So we moved, 30 miles up the thing to a place called the Parking Lot, and ended up popping a 35 that helped us win the championship. If we wouldn't have made that move, we might not have won that Angler of the Year, So, when there's a lot of stress involved there, you don't want to leave fish to find fish, but when you've done it long enough, and Alex will tell it and you will tell it, when it's just not going to happen at that spot. So it's time to, especially like you said, when you're looking for a point fish to win a year-long championship, you have to do something, change it up.
Yeah, even in the Cape Lookout Shootout series and things like that, you're always because these tournaments pay $100,000, on each one of these things now. But so you're always looking for that big fish. But the reality is everybody wants to make it to that championship, and so you have to weigh a fish the way the point system is. So it's really kind of it puts you in a little bit of a predicament to say, man, I want to win this tournament. I want to win 100 grand, but then you know what? I might need to catch a 12-pound fish today. And you hate to think that, but there are times where in some of these events up here, a 12-pound fish you might finish 10th or something and get great points and win a little bit of money even. And Alex, tell us a little bit about some of the summer series stuff down there, and when you're looking for a 10-pound dolphin or something.
Yeah, the summer series down here is a little different because it's actually points system. Because the weight, really, you can't. There's no way they could do the total weight. I guess they used to do it like that for overall, and the first leg the fishing is so much better. You could have such a huge weight in the first one that it made it almost impossible for anybody to pass those boats in those years. And they switched over. The first time I won it in 2013 was the first year they did the point system, and I actually tied hard way with points. And then it went back to the total weight for the tiebreaker, and we had more weight because we won the first leg. But when the Mayhem had the series, they did that like the old SKA with a total weight. We won the second year we had a really good year with a 66, a 48, and a 43. And then, of course, they're like, well, nobody could have beat you because you had a 66. So they changed it to a point system the next year, and I did the math on it. We would have won it that year just on the points.
Really?
So,
wow.
But the dolphin thing, that's just the KDW Calcutta, really.
Yeah, he does it. And Jamie's tournaments now, they have a big fish category, which I always go for. I'm always looking for that big 50-pound king that might pay 20 grand. I'm not going to go up against Alex. It's going to have 45 kites up, 19 baits out. I'm going for that big fish. He's going for that, overall poundage. I almost won it one year just by getting the 10 fish, but it's a different type of thing we're doing out there.
It is. It's unique. It's interesting to watch that, and the different, back earlier in the podcast talking about the types of baits and how he carries and, different strategies for those types of events. And, so there's a lot of unique things that happen in fishing, a lot of, different tactics and strategies that you put in place, and depending on what you're looking for and where you're fishing and all of that. So there's a lot of cool things. By the way, Brian Hassett made that comment. That's another gentleman who's been unbelievable fisherman on the west coast of Florida too. He was over there at Fort Pierce. So we have to get Brian on the podcast.
He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, I like Brian.
Yeah, he said he would do it. I talked to him a couple weeks ago.
He doesn't like me because I beat his record of 61 pounds over there. He only had the record for a week, so we caught that over there. So,
a question here from Carl, and this can go to all three of you guys. So, when you're slow trailing bluefish, where do you hook the J hook? Is it up through the mouth or through the nose?
A lot of times in my hand.
Yeah, you almost did it.
Had that happen on your boat?
Carl, good question, buddy. For those of you out there who might not know Carl. Carl is an unbelievable fisherman out of West Palm, Team Slob City, very successful in many, many events, was second place in this past weekend. So he knows where to hook the baits, but it's a good question for the audience. And a lot of times, through the nostrils, there are different ways, through the nostrils, up through the top of them, or inside the mouth, up through the top, pulls them straight, and then also shoulder hooking them right behind the head. Gets them diving a little deeper, swimming one way or the other as well. So great, good question, Carl. And for the audience, it is important. So guys, if you have something to add to that, please feel free to do so. But Carl, thanks for the question, man. Appreciate you joining the show too, man. That's and congratulations last week, buddy.
Carl's one of the ones to beat, like Alex out there.
Oh, 100%. Carl, Alex.
They live on the water. They got that. They got it figured out. That's definitely for sure. Yeah. And I've watched both of them come from,
Yeah. Anything different there, guys? That I said.
I like to put it through the
Nostril.
inside the mouth, out the top, because it's more durable. So when you're happen to reel in a bait, and especially when they're fresh, when you first put them out, they got so much energy and they're digging because their nose is a little soft. Sometimes your J hook will pull out of there, and then it just rips, and you have to.
And
definitely on those bigger baits too, for sure.
Yeah, when they come through the nostrils, it's a softer area, right? If you truly get it right through the nostrils, it's now there's a bone there that sometimes, whether it's a bluefish or runner or whatever, but you're right, Alex. I mean, that's definitely a much more durable way.
And then for the people that are new to the bluefish, you need to hold on like you're trying to kill that bait.
Absolutely, because they'll hurt you. They really.
Yeah. I got many pictures this weekend of people with hooks in their hand or dripping blood from getting bit by the bluefish.
Yeah, they're not fun, man. And that's a unique bait. People think they're so tough, but their bodies are soft, but they are a mean little species.
Oh, they're saltwater piranha, man.
And that is something you need to be careful on. And like you said, Alex, almost like you're just crushing them, because it's you want to be careful, but man, you got to be firm with them. There's no question about it, especially if they're big. I mean, listen, those bluefish that I got from you this week, man, some of them were pretty healthy. They were big.
I just got that from Brian. How not to hook one? I don't know if you can see it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, sometimes on those bigger ones, I put them on the deck and I pin them to the deck.
Yeah, there's something, man. So it's
that's the first thing you do is learn how to take hooks out of people when you tournament fish.
There's definitely a strategy to that.
Don't hesitate on the line thing. Yank.
Oh yeah, quick.
Pop it right out.
Be done.
And there's a good story with, on Mark's boat with me and the hooks.
Me too.
Were you there for that?
No.
I got one in my hand on this boat too.
Hey,
the first time ever.
I want Alex to tell his story, but John, we were running. I can't remember, crossing the shoals or something. I can't remember. A hook came out off a rod or something, and it got stuck in John's hand beyond the barb. And I said, okay. So we stopped. I said, John, okay, man, you got to trust me, because it was it's the first time he'd ever had a hook in him. And I said, all right, trust me. He looked up at me. He said, trust you? I said, yeah, man, you gotta trust me. So ultimately we snatched that thing out of there and we moved on, and he helped us. I think we caught pretty darn good fish that day. But Alex was on the boat with us, man. That was a unique experience, Alex.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever had a hook in my hand was on your boat. I was reaching over with one of those 14-inch hook de-hookers to let one go because we already had our limit, and he just shook just right, and the loose treble hook went in my middle finger while still attached to the king. So my hand's going back and forth, and I'm trying to follow the head shakes so I don't get my hand in his mouth. And while I'm doing that, the other side of the treble goes through my thumb. So now my fingers are stuck together like that.
They were, man, it was bad.
And the de-hooker is stuck wedged in my hand. And then I double wrapped the wire and I flung him in. Got him on the deck. We cut everything off. 20 minutes or so to get it out. And then Mark's camera guy, I said, you got all that video, right?
Yeah, he didn't even
he turned the camera off because he was worried about me.
Oh, jeez.
Alex looked up at him and he said, you got that on TV, right? He's like, no, I didn't want to embarrass you. I don't know what he said, but I was like, golly, man, that would have been anyway. It was not a pretty situation though.
Yeah, the next day I could feel my heartbeat in my finger the whole next day.
I know it. We fished the next day, if I ain't mistaken, aren't we? Didn't we? Was that the second? I thought so. Wow, that's crazy. Hey guys,
got another question in the chat, Mark, real quick before you roll on. Randy wants to know about clearing lines when you're fishing multiple kites. What's the method you use for clearing lines, or are you just leaving them out? I think you mentioned earlier leaving them out and just reeling the line up.
You just gotta get used to the chaos. Also, I wouldn't fish as many kite baits if I didn't have a bigger crew.
Yeah, explain that.
If I only had your size crew with four people or so, I would probably only put 3 or 4 kite baits out.
So tell me how many people did you have on your boat to manage this? And all these guys are very good fishermen too. I mean, I think that's something that people need to
understand. 7.
You had 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we fished 6 rods.
And each person has a responsibility that's specific. Is that correct?
Yeah, every guy was watching one of the kite baits, and then I just kind of stood behind the wheel because, as teams from out of town learn, we have a serious shark problem over here.
Ooh.
And if you're not chasing your fish right away and getting everything tangled, it's just priority one is the fish. Go get the fish, and if you have to cut lines, get the fish in the boat, and then worry about the tangle.
Yeah.
Because, like you said earlier, it was slow this weekend, so you got one shot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Ron, I know. I don't know.
Let me tell you that. I got to tell
talk
that story about what happened with you and me. Fishing off Jupiter, I hooked into one of the biggest kings I've ever seen in my life. Had it right at the gaff, and a bull shark came from underneath, took the whole back off, cost me $50,000. And I sent Mark the picture, and he's fishing all the way up in Carolinas, hundreds of miles away. 10 minutes later, he sends me a picture. He caught a 63. I'm like, you got to be kidding.
Oh, man.
You know, no, I was happy for him, but we lost one that was all of that. I mean, like I said, the head weighed 40 pounds. You know, the tail, you know, from the dorsal to the head was 40 pounds. But and that will stick with you. I think that stuck with me more than any win I've ever had. You know, and we've lost a lot of them lately. I mean, it's getting pretty bad.
It is bad.
I didn't even attempt to fish the ledge just because of all the boats pre-fishing and telling me how bad it was.
Yeah, we didn't have really a lot of fish that came up, so we didn't have that problem. We hooked a couple sharks and fought them, but
I know one of the guys sail fishing I know today, they had one of their sailfish get eaten by a shark.
It is a serious
Art
problem.
said he's never seen it like that. He loses sails all the time now. He doesn't
Who was
even
that?
bottom fish anymore. Art Sap.
Oh yeah. I stopped bottom fishing on my charters after probably the second or third year.
Yeah.
Well, I know when I first started coming down that way, and even up here, the shark problem was nothing like over the last 6, 7, 8 years.
Oh, it's way worse.
It is unreal how many big sharks that are there, and they see that activity. They know something's in distress. It brings it to them. They're programmed to know that, hey, it's an easy meal, that type of thing. And then even up here in North Carolina, I know some good fishermen that are probably watching that. I think Randy Burton's lost a couple big ones to some sharks. Even up here in North Carolina, I know we've lost quite a few. I mean, it's becoming a real issue, guys. I mean, I don't know. It's, I don't want to make it a political thing or anything like that, but there's an issue there. And for you guys, I know it. I mean, what you have to do. And Alex, you talk about how fast you try to get on a fish and catch a fish now. I mean, you probably didn't have to worry about that when you first started fishing, did you?
No, never.
Yeah.
Never even saw them. I mean, it's kind of like the Goliath grouper,
Tell about that.
Yeah.
I know. I saw that video, but they're the apex, and if they don't have anybody weeding them out a little bit, they're going to take over, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. When we were pre-fishing for the tournament on Thursday, we had a Goliath eat a 15-pound king at the side of the boat.
Like it was nothing.
Yeah. He said
it wasn't even a huge Goliath. It was probably a 250-pounder.
Yeah.
How deep of water?
That was at Lorraine Tower, so 75 foot.
Yeah, there's hundreds and hundreds of those out there. I dive that area a lot, and I think you have too. And I mean, they're like Volkswagens down there. They're everywhere.
Man.
And it's crazy though to hear when you sent that video, you could just hear him
sound.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. But guys, a couple things before we move on and get finish it up. But what would y'all say, let me start with this one. What are the 2 highlights for you and in your career? And it's going to be, that's a hard thing as much as both of you have accomplished. But what are the 2 things that are most memorable and why? Doesn't have to be the win. It doesn't have to be the money. It could be the experience. It could be anything. Ron, I think you might have shared a moment ago what one of your biggest highlights was, or lowlights, whatever it may be. What are the 2 things that might stick out in your mind most?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we all have the big fish and winning the tournaments and stuff, but the people I've met, when I met you, when you snuck on my boat years ago and tried to steal all my secrets.
I hear you.
But
that's a good story.
Our friendship, me and Mark talk every week, and the friendship that we've made has just been so important to me. You're like a brother. And you inducted me into the Hall of Fame. So those two things are probably my two big ones, and I'm here on screen with two future Hall of Famers. I can guarantee you that. And it's been an honor, man.
Well, that's cool.
Awesome.
Well, I appreciate it. So I love you, my friend. And Alex, talk about what are the couple things that that really kind of stand out. I mean, you got a lot. I mean, you're young, but you got
my three biggest wins that stand out to me would be SK Nationals in 2012. And then when we won Key West in 2020 with a 66-pound king.
Cool.
And because Key West is one of those tournaments where everybody loves going down there and only one person gets to win a year. And then 2 years ago in the shootout, we broke the record in most weight with 289 pounds for 9 fish.
And that's crazy. Wow.
That's awesome.
That's an amazing aggregate right there in that event. So we all had some amazing things happen. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to add, man. One that sticks out to me for sure. Every time I turn on YouTube and watch one of these kingfish tournaments on YouTube is that. Yeah, I always have to laugh when I see Alex with the Casper face.
Hey, we got to talk about this. It was interesting, and somebody posted said that Alex Burgess. He said it's going to be a good one. He's the Neutrogena man. So talk about it a little bit, man.
Well,
not an uncommon sight to see on you.
I'm a white boy. I burn real easy, and I just use the zinc, put it on in the morning, and that's it.
Well, I take everything back that I've said good about you all night long. That was disturbing, brother.
It's like he was like auditioning for a part in like The Dark Knight or something. I don't know.
And Alex, I had 284 pounds with 7 fish. So just want to throw that out there.
Oh, jeez.
See, the competition never ends, right? Even
never ends.
On a podcast.
We actually got Neutrogena to respond one time.
Did you?
There was a sunscreen like Calcutta and the Big Dog Fat Cat down here.
Okay.
And we posted one of those pictures of me. There's plenty of them.
Future sponsor, man. Future sponsor.
There you go.
That's
They
it.
should be.
So
Those
what's
things ain't cheap.
do what?
Those zinc bottles ain't cheap.
No, that's for sure. No, that's for sure.
Sponsors are important.
Oh, huge. We can talk about that in a minute too, if y'all want. But following up on the two or the highlights of your career, what would you say was truly the luckiest fish you ever caught?
My luckiest is one that I didn't actually catch on rod and reel. I was out commercial king fishing with Jonah and his friend. I can't remember her name right now, but we were getting ready to make a little move, and I saw some braided line in the water and didn't want to get in my props, so I idled over to it, gaffed it, and we start hand lining it in, and just it's going forever. And all of a sudden, Jonah's like, kind of feels like there's tension on it. We start idling closer to where it's going, getting heavier and heavier. It's like, I think there's a fish on here. And the braid went to one of the commercial guys was trolling planers, and he must have got it cut off way above his planer. Get to the planer, get to the mono, hand lining it in, and I can see all of a sudden I see like way out a king comes up on the surface, and there's a shark on him. So I start pulling harder. He pulls off. He was like hooked in the side or something because he was pulling like doing the spins.
Right.
And the shark chased him. I could see him on the surface swimming straight out the boat. And I'm like, no way. I grabbed the gaff. He swam right by the boat, and I free gaffed him right out of the water. It was a 30-pounder. And we got it on video.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
And at $4 a pound, man, that's $120, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. Ron, have you ever caught a lucky fish, or is just everything always been skill?
No, it's I think that one out of Sarasota when we ran 140 miles one way, and we were in a slow boat, so we got there dead last. All the fit people were fishing, had kites up, and we trolled right down the middle. and boated that 63 pounder, turned around and left and went 140 miles back. And I think that was probably the highlight, everybody was talking to each other like, what just happened? Did you catch a fish? Or, I think somebody asked you if we had caught a fish or something, but that was a good one. It was one of the biggest fish we ever caught. It was a pro event out of Sarasota.
Yeah, we've had a couple that were lassoed around the tail. And in fact, we had one last week that we caught a 30 pounder or something on day 2 and never had a hook in it. Just lassoed it right around the tail. And we had another one in 2012 that was like that. But I think for us, one of the most, I don't know if it was the luckiest because it wasn't a huge fish, but when it was early on in our career, like 05 or 06 or something like that, we were trolling and a fish hit. And Joshua, he was young, I don't know, 14 or something. And he picked it out of the rod. And he had, I think he had chocolate on his hand. He was eating a chocolate bar or something, and it slipped out of his hand. So it hit the rod, reel, everything with the fish on it. It's running. It hits the motor, cracks the motor cowling, dumps in the water. Next thing you know, the prop wash bait goes off, and we think it's a fish. And so long and short of it, we're fighting this fish, and up comes the rod. Joshua grabs the rod that he lost and fights the fish in, and I don't know, it's mid-teens or something, but that was one of the most unique things. It was kind of funny. And I actually, when I used to do some writing and journals and stuff like that for some papers, and anyway, I wrote a story on that. And this, a father thing, and you just remember those types of experiences. And I guess that's kind of what this whole sport is about, man. I mean, and as we get older, like us, Ron, we, those things become more and more important, more sentimental, I guess.
Yeah, I talked to Doug earlier, and he didn't care about the money. I mean, listen, $320,000 paydays, not but he said that he had his 3 boys on the boat. And if you look at some of his pictures on Facebook, there's one of him looking at his boys all teared up, and
I saw that.
Said that was amazing. And that's what it's about. I mean, my son unfortunately couldn't do this, because of his autism and stuff. But I've watched and lived through your boys and watched what they've done, and it's been special to me watching what they've done and growing up, turning out to be the men they have. It's amazing.
It's it really is special. John and I met years ago, and just the people that you meet on this, and then it is something that as you get older, you do look back on some things, the friends that you've made. I mean, these all of us on this, and some of the people that made comments tonight, people that you've met through this sport, and the ability to have those relationships and call on people and talk to people. You might not see them for a year, 2 years, who knows, but it's like you catch right back up. And we all of us talk frequently, but it is a really unique opportunity that we have, and I'm thankful for it every single time I talk to one of you guys or many people that are out here watching, and being able to communicate and have the platform to do something like this is pretty cool. And I've definitely enjoyed that a lot. And and all of us are supported by some wonderful people. Alex, I know you with Chelsea, Ron, you with Caprice, and then obviously Little General, and John with Heather for you. I mean, couldn't do this without all that kind of support. That's for sure.
No doubt.
So, is there anything that in your careers that would, looking back on it, that you would do differently, or Alex, you've still got a very long way to go, but is there anything that you're looking forward to doing, or that you would have done differently than what you've done in the past for any of us, Ron, Alex, whatever?
Not that I could think of. I just looking forward to more out of town tournaments. I like traveling and going to places that are not my backyard and trying to beat the locals.
That's hard. That's hard. I think that's the hardest thing, is getting out of your comfort zone and being competitive, but for me, I just, I love watching the junior anglers, and, I got a little quick story. I had a friend of mine fish Big Dog Fat Cat tournament with me, which is coming up in June. Billy Warner puts on a great tournament. And I had a friend of mine bring his little boy. I think he's like 10 years old on the boat, and he won junior angler, and the boy was crying at the weigh-in. I mean, to watch that to me is something special. You know, I wish I had, you know, more of that. You know, having some younger boys, you know, younger people on the boat and teaching them how we do things. You know,
no doubt. Alex, are you planning on coming up for the Morehead City Open this year?
We'll be there. Hopefully, it's not below 130 this year.
And that's true.
Yeah.
Wow. So
We were up there a week before this last year and caught all of our bait and went up into the mountains for a little vacation. And on our drive back, Ron called us and said, tournament's canceled. I'm like, what? 800 miles back home.
Yeah, it was a tough deal. We've had to do that a couple of times. Did it in Biloxi one year, and then also I think the first year we ever fished nationals down in Fort Pierce. So I think we had to do that. Come down, stay out all week, and it's blowing like 40 or something. It's crazy out of the Northeast. It's like you can't fish that. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. So it's frustrating. But yeah, they've done a good job this year, though. They've put some alternative plans in place to eliminate that for the Morehead City Open. So
it doesn't happen much. You know, usually we're out there fishing in some of the nastiest stuff in the Gulf and the Keys and up in your neck of the woods, going over that shoal. Oh my goodness gracious.
There's a lot to it, man. It's, you know, and that's the unique thing that, you know, all of us have had the opportunity to travel and fish in different locations, you know, all the way over to Louisiana, Texas, up to, you know, even the White Marlin Open up in Ocean City, Maryland. You see a lot of different things in this, the unique, you know, tactics and just the uniqueness of each coast and the way it changes and the way you have to fish is different. And, you know, and then when you're fishing the local, you know, fishermen, they got some great fishermen all the way up the coast and you know, they know what they're doing there. There are a lot of them that are very focused and dedicated to it. So they know the waters, they know the locations, they know the places, they know how to troll, or fly kites or whatever strategy they're using. It's tough to compete. And that was what was so unique about the Pro Tour back in the day. That was not an easy thing.
No, you could be fishing an oil rig one weekend and fishing a beach the next weekend. And, you know, I mean, fishing, you know, all over you could be fishing an inlet, you know, one week in the pro event. So. Well,
I know last year, Alex, you fished the Jacksonville tournament. It's like you can't get 3 miles off the beach or something. So it was a whole different strategy for you there. And you know, but you know, you went and you did very well in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was the Unbound or King of the Beach, I think it's called.
It's the old school or something.
The old school, yeah, that one. Yeah, that was. We just sat in front of Fernandina Inlet with all the other boats and back and forth, and just like always, they either the major or the minor. There's a little 30 to 60 minute bite, and we caught 2 out of 3 fish, and watched the boat catch the 46 or whatever it was right next to us.
You know, you said something there that I think the audience will be interested in. You talking about, because we talk about it a lot in here in North Carolina. You're always paying attention to the major and the minor. Is that something both of you guys have paid attention to over these and noticed whether or not is it actually impactful for
I see more big fish on the minor than anything, and it's definitely a factor down here on the slow days.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we just have better fishing overall down here, so a lot of times it doesn't really matter. They're just biting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're going to be out there all day, so it doesn't really matter. You know, I do make it that I'm not going to be moving during those times. You know, like if there's a expected bite, you know, I try to stick it out until after that, you know, happens, or I hear that it's died down a little bit.
Yeah, there's a gentleman up here named Jim Davis. You know, very, very well known king mackerel fisherman, trout fisherman up here too. But he always said, you know, when I first started, he's like, you can't be moving, you can't be running when the bite times arrive, guys. You got to be fishing, and wherever you are, you need to have worms in the water. And just a really classy man and a good guy that always talked about the bite times and how important it was. So anyway, so that was kind of cool.
Former national champion and champion himself, I believe.
Right, baby. And those guys a lot of those guys are involved in running the Swansboro 5-0, which is another event. We're going to have them on the podcast as well. That very, very impactful event. Swansboro's first tournament SKA ever sanctioned. And that's another event that, Alex, you can come up here and trying to get you to fish that with us too.
When's that one?
It's Swansboro's in October. Is that right, John?
October, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, that's the one after the Morehead City Open.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the one I got the hook in the hand.
That's right. You did.
You're trying to talk him back into it, Mark?
Yeah.
Got to talk him back into it. I've been trying to get Ron to fish up here for years. He won't.
Until you get workman's comp on that boat, I'm not coming up there. I'm scared of you guys.
Understand.
No, I'll be up there this year sometime.
I fished it the year after with Joe
Joe.
Gill.
That's right.
Yeah, and that was just bad luck on my timing and coming up there. Just the bites have been really weak the last couple of years.
Yeah. It's the last couple of years, but there's been a few guys caught some good ones, but
50+ pounders every tournament.
Yeah.
You do get a bite. You do get a bite up there, man. I mean, you get like a Key West bite or, some of the bites we get here, but you get a heck of a bite. Those fish up north are massive.
Several years back, it took in one of the Cape Lookout tournaments, it was the top, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that the top 19 fish were 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a few 60s in there too, I think.
Oh yeah.
There were some big ones.
Yeah, it's a big fish. But
let's wrap this up with one more question. Got one from Aaron Medlin here. So what difference do you see in your tackle fishing in Florida as compared to North Carolina as far as the fluoro line size, smaller wire hooks due to water clarity? That can go to anybody because you guys have all fished.
So Alex is going to do that.
Yeah.
what do you do?
I fished bigger tackle in this clean water than you could possibly imagine. You have to yank on our fish to catch them. Otherwise, that light stuff's not going to work a lot of the time.
In North Carolina, it's there's a lot of light tackle use. I mean, when I'm saying light, I mean a lot of number 6, and I think Ron used a lot of number 6 hooks, some number 6, and some little number 1, number 2 nose hooks, 40-pound leaders sometimes down to number 3 straight wire for some people, depending on time of year. If it's at July, August time frame, that's hard to get a bite. That's it's we pretty much kind of stay with the same tackle throughout the year. I use a lot of 7-strand 1x7 actually, with and some of the 1x7 titanium now. So we'll use some of that, but it's and down in Florida, to answer the question, what Alex is talking about, Aaron, is that those fish down there, we talked about the shark problem, heavier tackle, heavier, bigger hooks, heavier line, heavier leader, heavier fluorocarbon, and heavier rods. And
I fish 50-pound fluoro, 1x7, 50-pound titanium, or single strand 50-pound titanium, 6.0 J hook in the nose, number 1 trebles.
And we've changed it up too with the sharks a little bit, but we're the exact opposite. And we've talked about this. He uses anchors and I use dental floss. I mean, I do everything I can to get a bite. I always think kingfish has some of the best eyes out there. And I think it doesn't matter with some of our water on the Gulf Stream, where we fish, it's cobalt blue. I'll go down to 6s, 20-pound test is about as low as I'll get a 30-pound floral, but I do lighten it up. And,
so that that right there, Aaron, will tell you that it's obviously 2 very, very successful fishermen, 2 different strategies and thought processes, and it really is kind of what you get comfortable with, and we're probably somewhere in between, but we'll load up and go some heavier tackle, especially if the fish are fishing are supposed to be bigger, but it's really just kind of what you feel comfortable with. And because you can see right there, I mean, that's 2 totally different thought processes and strategies on that. So,
yeah, so if somebody says you can't get bites with big tackle, I mean, Alex is the one proving that wrong every day. So,
Yeah, and then also drag. People talk a lot about drag. I mean, I can about guarantee you that these two gentlemen here are going to have different thought processes on that too.
Well, it all goes back to the quality of your live bait as well.
Right.
Because if you're dragging a bait that's half alive with big hooks, the chances of him getting bit with the little hooks is probably higher. You got a really lively bait. That king, well, you can see him on your rod tip. When that king comes up to look at him and your rod starts shaking a little bit more, he's looking at him. If your bait's not lively, it's just not going to get ate. Yeah. Especially by the bigger ones. They're not stupid.
All about the bait.
Yeah,
but
and
presentation. Like talk about the drag. I fished 6-7 pounds of drag and Ron's around 2.
Yeah, well, maybe 3.
Yeah.
But I have changed. I mean, we've tightened it up. I mean, you have to these days. I mean, we do our best to clear everything and get on the fish as quick as we can. But these sharks are keyed in. I mean, right when you come off plane, 3 of them show up to your boat because they're programmed to get fed now.
It's not just here either. When I travel, it's gotten worse every year. Like Key West is pretty bad now.
Yeah, you used to have no sharks down there.
Never.
Mean, occasionally you get a hammerhead or something, but you never had to worry about sharks 10 years ago, even 7 or 8 years ago. Now it's a big factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, up here in North Carolina.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, I mean it's gotten worse. I mean, I remember, every once in a while you lose a fish to a shark or something, but I mean it's gotten to the point, a couple of years ago we lost a big money fish to one, and wasn't a huge fish, but it was a big money fish because it was a early year tournament, didn't have a lot of big fish in it. But same thing. I mean, and we've tried hard to be very aggressive on turning on a fish, getting on a fish, getting fish to the boat, getting it, if we can at all possible, and and try to get vertical on fish, that instead of it real stretched out, that kind of thing. So, because the longer that fish is in the water, the worse, there's things that can happen, whether it's parted leaders, something come by. I mean, we've all lost fish to other fish swimming by, hitting, cutting the line, and the longer that fish is in there, man, if you're tournament fishing, you want it in the boat. I heard Alex tell me one time, I ain't fishing for trophies. I'm fishing for trips.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not allowed to bring trophies in the house anymore. I don't think I'll ever get another one anyway,
but you've gotten plenty over your years. So
no doubt.
But
this has been great.
It's been a hour and a half. I don't know how long it was going to go, but is there any advice as we depart this this little podcast here, of which I appreciate y'all being on it very much. Is there any final advice, big picture specifics or anything like that y'all would offer to anyone out there who's getting started or might be experienced? You guys are the professionals. People look up to you and they know how successful you've been. Is there anything in particular that you can share?
I mean, for me, I think that, listen to people, talk to people. When I first got into the pro thing, I talked to everybody. I tried to get information and learn what the guys that were doing well, what their success, and, anybody can win a tournament. I mean, a guy in a John boat years ago won the Jacksonville at the inlet. So it doesn't mean you have to have the 40-foot, 44-foot contender with 25 live wells and 9,000 bait. You just got to go out there and work hard. And I mean, it's tough to beat these guys, but you can. It can be done.
For sure.
I would agree with most of what he said.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's important. I mean, there's the U.S. Open up here is a testament to that. Almost every year, someone's fishing in the inlet right there at Yopine, Ocean Crest or something in a small boat, and they, so many times they get the right bite. And I think it's important just to, as you look back on the time. I mean, we've all been very competitive, and there have been times where it's just felt like it was the only thing in the world. But enjoy as much as you can. Take your time to be with your friends, with your family, communicate with people. I tell you, if it hadn't been if I hadn't done this, I'd have never met these 3 men on this show. And as much as anything, you start reminiscing about stuff. You start thinking about those things when you get to more advanced age. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
No doubt. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Looking forward to see what Alice can do in the next 20 years.
Me too, man. It's going to be
I'm on fire, buddy.
Yeah, man. It's going to be exciting because I got to tell you, the first 15 or whatever it's been has been amazing. And I have a lot of respect for both of you guys. And Alex, I mean, you got so much ahead of you, buddy, and such a good support, there with Chelsea and what you guys do to support the events down there, man. It's exciting to see. And Ron, as we ride off into the sunset, we'll just sit back and watch, right?
Just sit in a beanbag and watch, buddy.
Watch these young guys like John and Alex.
That's it.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and look forward to catch up when you guys get here in North Carolina.
Appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome.
Hey, y'all, hang tight with us. John, what a great show, man. What a great bunch of guys.
Hour and 35 minutes seemed like it was about 5 talking with those guys, man. It's a lot of good stories, a lot of laughs. So
yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. I mean, hopefully the audience out there will will gain some knowledge from it and enjoy hearing from these guys. And we hope to bring a lot of this to y'all as long as we do this. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully it'll grow. Y'all please share it. Go to the Liquid Fire and Troll the Edge YouTube channels and check that out. If you hadn't subscribed to it, we'd appreciate that. I think John's got a legend fishing team page on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. But we would definitely appreciate y'all doing that. It's important to us to help it grow, and hopefully we can we got some good guests lined up. I think. Not just king mackerel stuff. We got some cool people from the industry and some boat builders and some unique media personalities. I think that we'll be able to bring on board here.
Yeah. I think it's going to be. Tonight was great, and I think as we get more dialed in on this, it's just going to get better. So, a couple things to wrap up. Mark, you touched on the Swansboro tournament. I did see a post for anybody watching that. I guess it's. The registration for the current teams is open and getting ready to close, and then it's going to go to the wait list. So if there's any availability, so if you're on the wait list, get ready for that. If you want to get in that Swansboro 5-0 event, it
don't take long for it to fill up. I can tell you that. So if there's any attrition on that, be prepared, be ready. And for those who I'm sure that Swansboro sends out good emails and all that, those guys are dialed in. And but if you haven't sent your entry in and registered, make sure you do it because it is a great event. It's something very, very special to be a part of. No question about it.
Awesome. Last, just end with, if you guys have, audio podcast, do us a favor. Mark asked you to subscribe on YouTube, but we've got this on Spotify and Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts. So if you get a chance, jump in there and subscribe to that. We'd appreciate it. And like I said, we're going to keep growing this and hopefully continue to have some fun with it. Yeah, I hope so. We've got a couple. We may do something. I'll be out of town week after next, but we may do something a little sooner next week. We'll see. Lining up a couple of good guests, so hopefully we'll bring you some good stuff. Awesome. Well, Mark, you have a good evening, brother. It's great to talk to you, and we'll see you soon. Likewise, John. Thanks, I appreciate everybody. It. And Ron, awesome stuff, guys. Yeah. Thank you. See y'all next time. Great. Have a great night, everybody.